What's up, guys? So, I just want to say I hope you guys had a wonderful Thanksgiving. And today I want to discuss Don Staley's South Carolina team because my recent video that I made, when I mentioned how South Carolina may need a big because, based on Camilla being in the WNBA, they don't have that big anymore. They don't have that 6'7" as of now, or that 6'8". And the loss against UCLA, a few days back, basically proved my point. Because when I saw that game, I was like, wow, that was practically a huge blow to South Carolina. And it proved my point because I made a video regarding how they needed a big like Lauren Betts. And that loss just basically just said I was right based on the video that I did. So UCLA had 77, South Carolina had 62. That game was embarrassing. I mean, South Carolina should have been embarrassed. Now they're not number one anymore. They have UCLA number one. Then they put South Carolina to number four. I mean, based on the way they were playing, they weren't even playing like I would say like a top five team or a top 10 team. That was just the worst of South Carolina. Then you had Joyce Edwards. She sucked during that game. She just seemed like she was just an amateur during that game. And she kept messing up. And I don't understand how Don Staley had her in the game like that, just playing like that. Raven Johnson. Um, to this point, I'm just over it with her. Like, as far as being ready for the WNBA, I'm going to just be real with you. She's not ready for the WNBA. I wouldn't put her top 10. Like, when she do leave South Carolina, I would say, because I think she's, what is she, a junior or senior? Forgive me if I don't really, if I'm not sure if she's a junior or senior. Let me see as of right now. Raven Johnson. I think she's a junior. But anyway, whether she's a junior or senior at this point, she's not ready for the WNBA. I've seen way better point guards than her. Even teams that's not on South Carolina, I've seen way point guards as her. And today when they played against Iowa State, she's still not a good point guard to me. Like, she may make her threes, here and there, but she's still not a good point guard. And Don, from my understanding, Don decided not to change her starting five lineup. She needs to change her starting five lineup because Iowa State is not UCLA. You can't compare Iowa State to UCLA because UCLA came ready for South Carolina. Obviously, UCLA coach was watching games and saw what their weakness was. She basically saw they didn't have no Camilla on the floor anymore, and they took advantage of that. Like South Carolina, you really have to, coaches were smart. I don't know what these opponents are doing. I don't know, what the coaches do before they play South Carolina, but they need to watch South Carolina tapes to see what their weaknesses are. And maybe UCLA coach did that. But that team came ready, I'm gonna admit. UCLA, they socked it to South Carolina. I mean, South Carolina, maybe that's what they need. They needed somebody like UCLA that came ready for them. That they was like, hey, we here to play. Like, we here to humble y'all. And I think with South Carolina, they got too comfortable beating these other teams. They just got too comfortable. And when they saw they were playing UCLA, they probably was like, oh, we're going to beat them. We're going to knock them out. No big deal. So basically South Carolina didn't come ready to play. They just thought they were just going to get on the court and whoop them. But UCLA, they studied them. UCLA came ready. And Lauren Betts, she played a good game. And then South Carolina, I mean UCLA, they have some other good players. Kiki Rice also played a good game that day. And as far as the starting lineup, I think for that game she had Chloe Kitts, Tahina Papal, Raven Johnson, Bree Hall, Sanaya Fagan. I mean, Joyce Edwards. I don't think she was a starting five of that game, but Joyce Edwards sucked that game. Like she literally sucked. Now, um, the game against Iowa State, she played really good. I give her that. I mean, UCLA, maybe she had a bad game. You know, I'm going to just keep watching her to see how things go as they play more games. But I think for her just not playing good that game, I don't know why she was still on the court. I believe my starting five, Don's change up, because she really needs to change up. Like, I'm not saying this just to be against Don. I love Don Staley as a coach, but as I just believe, hey, like I want them to win the championship this year, but by the way things are going with them, I doubt it if they make the Sweet 16. I'm not gonna say, oh, they're gonna make the Final Four. I'm gonna say, I hope you guys make the Sweet 16. That's all I'm gonna say. Let's start from there, the Sweet 16. And then if you make the Sweet 16, I hope you make the Elite Eight. But by the way you guys are playing and by the way this lineup is, I hope you guys make the Sweet 16. I'm going to pray for you because you have all these other good teams that you haven't played yet that's coming for y'all. You got Notre Dame. They're really good this year because you have Olivia Miles back, and then you have Hannah Hidalgo. They're on the same team, and they're playing like a force right now. What other teams? You got UCLA. Y'all gonna end up at UCLA again, hopefully. You know, UCLA gonna be waiting for y'all again. UCLA, Notre Dame, and even Iowa, University of Iowa, the team Caitlin Clark was on. They're still undefeated for now. They're playing really good. Even though Caitlin Clark not on the team, there's no one that's playing like Caitlin Clark, but they are still playing good. So you gotta watch out for teams like that. Who else? Maybe did I say UConn? I'll add UConn in there. You got UCLA, UConn, Notre Dame, Iowa. Those are good teams. You play UCLA, UCLA whooped y'all. Um, Notre Dame, y'all haven't played them yet. And then you guys haven't played USC, University of Southern California. So who knows? USC may come in and whoop y'all. I'm just keeping it real. This is the way UCLA beat y'all. Don't let USC come in and beat y'all in the game. That's why I believe Don need to think about these changes because these teams are coming for y'all. These other teams like Iowa State or maybe Ole Miss. I mean, I don't know. Maybe y'all can be Ole Miss. I don't know. What other teams? I wouldn't say easy teams, but I'm just saying teams that you guys can probably beat. I would say you guys beat Iowa State. They didn't play a good team. And then you have Audie Crooks. Like, she's a big girl, but she's not a strong center. And I think what her problem is, like, she's not as fast going up and down the court. That's the problem with Audie Crooks. Yeah, she's good as being a center because she's a big girl. But I think as far as her, don't get me wrong, I'm not about talking about women's bodies as far as them being fat or skinny. But I think for her speed, it's a possibility she may need to lose some pounds a bit in order to go up and down the court for her speed. because right now she's not as quick going up and down the court right now. And I noticed that watching her against South Carolina, she needs to pick up the pace again. Pick up the pace a bit, running up and down the court. Her speed needs to just be on the go. Because when Camilla was on South Carolina, she was a tall girl. She wasn't fat, but she was tall, nice eyes, but she was able to run back and forth. She was very quick on the court. And that's what you need in a big, like a big, tall 6'7", or a big girl that's tall, that may not be 6'7" or maybe 6'5". You need that quickness on the court. So for my starting five, when you coming up against some good teams, my starting five would be Chloe Kitts, Tahina Papal, and I have to write this down because I recognize the girls' faces, but sometimes I have to remember their names, so I have to write it down. So I would say Chloe Kitts, Tahina Papal. I would put Phil Wiley as the starting five. I don't even know why Phil Wiley is I'm not starting. I would put Phil Wiley in over Raven Johnson. I would add Tessa Thompson. She would be my fourth person. And then as far as a big, now I question Dawn with the bigs because she needs to, I guess, develop them more, like work with them more. You have bigs like Adele Taxon on the bench, and then you have Sakima Walker. I don't really care much for Sakima Walker as a player. She's not really a strong center. Maybe Dawn needs to like develop her more to be strong, but she's not a strong center. So I wouldn't put her in. I would, as far as that fifth person, that's a tough one because I think Don don't really have a strong force right now. But I heard about this other player, Adele Tack. I don't know why Don has her on the bench. Maybe Don needs to try her. But I know that Joyce Edwards played a good game. Maybe she had an off game against UCLA, but she did have a good game against Iowa State. She played 23 minutes. She had 11 rebounds, 1 assist, and 13 points. I would put her in over Sanaya Fagan. I would try Joyce Edwards at as the fifth person. And then have Adele Tack come off the bench. I would just switch it out, try it out a bit. Because Joyce Edwards, she's seemed like she's a good rebounder. So I would have Joyce Edwards as a starting five. Just try it out and then switch her out, within Adele Tack. That's how I would do, my starting five and then switch it out with the bench. My bench players, I would put in Ashlyn Watkins, Raven Johnson, Sanaya Fagan. And I would keep one of the starting five people in there. I would keep like maybe Chloe Kitts in there a bit. And then the fifth person, I would try Adele Tack and then switch it out between her and Joyce Edwards a bit. See how that works. And then I may have Tahina Papal, come in, come back in the game. But I would just switch it out a bit. Because you got good teams coming up. So, yeah, you beat Iowa State today, but what's going to happen the next game? Because you got Iowa. Who else are good teams? I'm looking now. And I think they have a game on Saturday. I think they play Purdue. So I hope they beat Purdue. I'm on my phone looking at their future games. Who else they play down the line? TCU. I think that's I'm not saying they play TCU, but I'm looking at TCU matchup. I think they play these other teams. They play like Atlantic December 4th. This is TCU. That's the team that Haley Van Lith is on. So I think TCU, they're a pretty good team. So you got to watch out for TCU. Stanford. Look out for Stanford. You never know. Stanford may come for y'all. And Tennessee, I haven't seen Tennessee play yet, so I'm not too sure about them as of right now. Okay, so actually, South Carolina played TCU on December 8th. That is next Sunday. So I hope I want. Okay, I know normally they're gonna. Okay, I think they're gonna air that on TV, maybe ESPN or Fox, one of them. And as far as I know, that is all I can say for now because it's I just can't get over that UCLA game. They they shouldn't have lost that game. They played horrible. And as they were playing horrible, no changes weren't being made. That's what disgusts me. You still got these players coming in, they're in there playing bad, but you're not switching out. And as far as for Wiley in there, I don't know what was going on the sidelines. I don't know why for Wiley wasn't back in there. Like, I don't know what her and Don talked about, but for Wiley should have been in that game. And the way they're playing, they may not make it to the Sweet 16 if they keep this up. So let's just say we hope they make it to the Sweet 16. And I really want them to win the championship again. But the competition's just coming. Competition is coming. And maybe UCLA was a wake up call to them. I hope it was a wake up call. And I know that, the goal is to be undefeated again. Okay, it didn't happen. You move on from it. But you don't want to continue these losses because there's no changes in the starting five. And from what I'm getting, Don decided not to make the changes, which is her decision, you know. But I just hope she proves us wrong down the line. That, the starting five is good where they're at. There's some changes that need to make. I hope she proves us wrong. Because I know when I made that video before, they played UCLA, I think I made my point regarding, Camilla not being there. And they need a big like Camilla. I think I proved my point. And the bigs that she got the height, but they sitting on the bench. So what's the purpose of them being there if you're not going to use them? Like you need that tall center player. Even if you need to go out and recruit somebody that's like Camilla or 6'8", 6'9", recruit them. But if you got bigs that sit on the bench, work with them, develop them. Don't just have them sit on the bench and they're not going to be developed. Like, put them in, work with them girls. It's all about working with them. Like, even if you have to do a practice with the bigs and like a 6'5", Adele and Sakeem, even if you have like your assistants working with them to help them, work in the middle, like just work with them. Just prep them up. Because if you're not prepping them up and not working with them, how are they going to be good? How are they going to be ready? Because it seemed like Don could be focusing on certain players, like her outside players. It's okay to make the threes, but you still need that center. Because, when they make when they try to do them 3-point shot attempts, they may not work at times. It may not go in. Like, yeah, Tessa is a 3-point shooter, but suppose she have an off night where her threes are not going in. Even though she's been lucky every game and her shots always go in, but you just have to be ready. She may have an off night, and then that's when you need your centers to take it in and get fouled. So that's all I wanted to discuss. You guys have a great night.